What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of JY Throws. We are outside and it's starting to rain right now, so we're going to see how this goes, but I may be discussing how to stand up in a wet ring today. So the rain ended up actually holding off for most of practice, but I still wanted to discuss slipping in the ring since it's early spring and you may encounter meets that it's not a lightning storm and it's just raining out. And in that case, you'll still have the track meet go on and you'll be throwing. So understanding how to compete well in those conditions will help you be a better all-around thrower. And understanding some of these things may help you feel more confident in the ring for the day that you do encounter that rainy, crappy weather that you've got to compete in. So there's two main issues that you're going to face in rainy, slippery conditions. And that's yourself slipping in the ring, and the other one is the implement slipping in your hand or in your neck if it's shot put. And I want to cover some solutions to those problems and some things that you can do to prepare yourself to be ready for them. So the first thing that I want to talk about is slipping in the ring. The best way that you can overcome this is by being nice and balanced over your leg out of the back. By being patient and setting up a vertical axis over top of this leg, you'll be able to actually get out of the back to the middle of the circle without your foot slipping, where if your hips start to drop back or your chest starts to dive forward and you end up pushing with too much linear force out of the back on your foot, that's what starts to cause you to slip when the conditions aren't ideal. So by setting up and being balanced over that leg, you won't be applying as much linear force so that you can actually get off of it and drive to the middle of the circle. Patience is very key in a wet circle. The other way to prevent slipping is by changing your shoes. So some of the fastest rotational shoes are the Nike rotationals, but there's a ton of other companies that make throwing shoes. And I find Adidas aren't quite as fast and have a bit flatter bottom, and sometimes that's good to help you feel connected with the ground in dry conditions. But that slightly slower sole on the shoe can help you get a bit more traction so you're not slipping, since there's more surface contact, so there's more friction. And another nice, slow, flat shoe is Asics. So by having different throwing shoes, you can start to pick them based on the ring surfaces, because sometimes even when it's dry, a ring will be really slippery, like indoors, for example. On a wood ring, a lot of them are slippery, but even outdoors, sometimes you'll get a nice polished concrete one that's just too slippery out of the back and you can't find your balance. So different shoes for that purpose is nice, but in the situation of rain or extremely slippery circles, sometimes you can just wear your running shoes. And because of the water, you'll have minimal enough friction on the bottom of your shoe so you can actually still turn even in a running shoe. Some ways to find throwing shoes, if you're interested in that, I always recommend going to eBay. You can type in your shoe size and throwing shoe, find stuff on there. The other thing to consider is the actual condition of the ring. So this is where it gets kind of difficult. Some rings, if you wipe them out, you'll actually make it more slippery. And this is typically the case in a ring that's been flooded for a while before and had the sun shining on it, and you'll get some algae growth and things in the ring. And when that gets wet, it's slippery, but then when you dry it out, you'll spread algae film over the whole circle, and then you really can't stand up anywhere. So sometimes it's better to keep the ring wet with some water in the bottom, and that helps prevent spreading algae all around and stuff like that that's going to make it slippery. But some rings you can also just dry out and they'll be fine, and that's typically if they're maintained or cleaned. But for the most part, a lot of people will want to get in right away and start trying to dry it out before they throw. But be cautious, because sometimes that can actually cause the ring to become more slippery throughout the whole thing, rather than just keeping some water in it so you're not spreading that algae. Anyway, these were the three main points that I wanted to touch on to cover slipping in the actual circle, because that's going to be one of the biggest problems that you'll face once you get into that slippery wet ring. The second thing that I want to cover is the implement slipping out of your hand, or the implement slipping in your neck if it's shot put, because this is one of the quickest things that can throw off your shot put throw if you jump to the middle and the shot put slips out of your neck, or if you're throwing discus and you just feel the discus slide out of your hand, no control, nothing you can do. And there's a few strategies that you can take to prevent having this happen. So I want to give you guys a checklist of some things that you want to have. These are things that you should keep in your throwing bag, or before you go to a meet, put a checklist in your phone so you can pack these things, because in the relatively likely chance that you're going to get rain early in your track and field season, you're going to just want this stuff no matter what. You're going to want towels, a garbage bag, a rain jacket, an umbrella, chalk, and a change of socks. So the first thing is your towel. Obviously, you're going to want this to dry up the implement, to dry off your neck, to dry off your hand. And this is key to making sure everything's nice and dry. So you definitely want to have this. And if you're coming from home, bring one with you. or if you're at a hotel and you forgot to bring one from home, you can snag one from the hotel. But I'll typically try to have a hand towel or two that I can use for the implement, but also a bigger towel to keep myself dry and rest my implements on. The second thing is a garbage bag. If you don't have an umbrella with you, or even if you do, a garbage bag is awesome to have. First of all, worst case scenario, you can rip a head hole and armholes in it and create a little poncho to act as a rain jacket. But if you've got a rain jacket and you don't need that, you can put your backpack inside of a garbage bag, your towels inside of it, and you can set your implement inside of it, so when it's raining out, you've got a nice dry shelter to keep everything in. Third one is the rain jacket. They're great because since they're made of essentially plastic, they're great to keep you warm and keep your body heat trapped inside. So when it's rainy and wet, having a rain jacket will help trap heat inside of it, keep you nice and warm, keep you dry, and being warm and dry and feeling comfortable is a huge help to getting good throws. The next one is an umbrella. This is great, obviously, to protect you from rain, like an umbrella, but also you can set an umbrella down on the ground to create a little lean-to kind of shelter that you can put your backpack under. You can put your garbage bag towel underneath it, and you can hang a little hand towel from the metal inside an umbrella to keep it off the ground so that you always have a dry hand towel. If you didn't bring one with you and say your parents are at a track meet or you've got a car with access to get somewhere, TJ Maxx or Marshall's or stores like that are great to go find a beach umbrella. When I'm traveling to a track meet and it's super hot and sunny, or if it's going to be rainy, I like to go there. You can get a $15 to $20 6-foot beach umbrella, and that creates an amazing shelter to cover. And if you've got it, typically they come with a stake you can slam into the ground, and you can have 2 or 3 or 4 people or 5 people in some situations standing under the umbrella because they're so big. Just wind is an issue to blow these away, so you want to be cautious of that and make sure no one gets hurt. And the final thing I want to cover is chalk. So in wet conditions, chalk is a kind of weird one to deal with, because if the chalk gets wet, or if you're putting it on an extremely wet hand or neck, it'll start to kind of paste up. So before you put on chalk, first of all, you want to make sure the chalk is nice and dry, and then take one of your nice dry towels from underneath your garbage bag or umbrella or your rain jacket if you need to use that as a garbage bag type thing. But dry off whatever body part that you want to do while you're under the umbrella or something, apply the chalk, and then what I'll typically do is bring that towel with me, cover that over my hand, have another one around my neck if I need it for shot put to make sure that stays as dry as possible. But what I'll do is walk in the circle with the towel covering the implement. At the very last second, take the towel off the implement, wipe off my neck, and then throw it on the ground and begin my throw. By doing this, there's minimal time for raindrops to land on me, and the bit of chalk that's there will dry up the couple raindrops that land on those spots during the throw, so you prevent that slipping. It's all about being prepared, having a good amount of towels so that you can utilize them. And for discus and shot put, bringing a towel with you into the ring and keeping your hand and implement covered as long as possible so everything stays dry will help it so that you can prevent water getting on it until the very last second so that it doesn't have time to get between your hand and the implement and start to cause slipping. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Things are feeling awesome. Starting to feel that finish a bit more and more every day, and I just need to continue to keep trying to feel it until I really feel it and get some nice throws going. But every day's closer and closer. My back's just getting a little tight, so I want to shut it down, get ready for hopefully tomorrow if they're done putting up the fence and my finger's feeling good for some discus. And if not, I will see you guys on Monday. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and if you really enjoyed it, subscribe for more. See you in the next one.